guys, welcome back to another episode of Now Loading from PopNerdTV. I'm your host as always, Alex Thompson, and I have a returning guest with me, Johnathan Paul. It's happening again. Who knows? This might be his last time. It may come again.
Maybe.
Yeah, maybe. We'll see.
Yeah.
Anyways, this is Now Loading, and this is the show where we give you the top releases for the week of August 7th.
Right.
Yeah.
On August 7th this week. Yep.
Yeah.
I'm excited.
I'm excited. There's some cool stuff going on this week.
Yeah, the two games that we're going to talk about today, it's some really awesome new stuff that looks new, but then we've also got some retro stuff coming up that's...
it's like almost double the retro stuff.
It is.
Even though it's
awesome.
a new release,
Yeah.
It's going to take you back.
Right. Yeah, and then we got to talk about Pokemon.
Yeah, Pokemon Go event did not go so well.
No, it did not.
But before we get into all that, let's talk about key releases for the week.
Yep.
First one I want to bring up before we take it back a little bit is Hellblade: Senua's Sacrifice.
Yes.
And this game looks insane. Like the graphics are just amazing and it looks really cool.
Right.
Now it's going to be coming out on August 8th for the PC and the PS4.
Right.
But no Xbox.
Yeah, well, it's Ninja Theory.
Yeah.
So, it kind of really doesn't make a difference, but, Ninja Theory, their first kind of real big game was Heavenly Sword for the PlayStation 3. So, I'm thinking this is probably going to be kind of just a timed exclusive. I'm not sure if it's going to come out for the Xbox One, but I would be surprised if it eventually didn't.
Probably.
End up coming out for the Xbox One. But it looks sick, man.
Oh yeah.
That's me beeping.
That's
all right.
Anyways, one of the first things I want to say, it's a third-person hack and slash. When I first went into this game before I saw the gameplay, and just the trailer, which is amazing.
Right.
I kind of thought it was going to be like God of War, where there's going to be like buttons and combinations you have to hit and stuff.
Well, even the look.
The look.
Just the overall color scheme and just the overall look and feel of the game looks like the new God of War.
Right.
Yeah.
But the graphics are a little bit better. I would think it's
so?
I think it's a little bit more detailed anyway.
Yeah.
I mean, whenever you watch the trailer, the lighting, the little ridges and pores on the skin and the way everything moves up there. There's the little hair and everything on the fur she's wearing and stuff.
Man, we were that opening scene that we saw in the trailer where she's on the boat.
Yeah.
You've got that amazing shot where the sun is, veiled over by the fog in the distance. It just looks amazing. And just that one image there alone, as soon as we saw that, I was like, wow, this is gonna be great. And that's the crazy thing is I didn't even know that this game was coming out.
Exactly.
I don't know if it just kind of got lost in the shuffle of all the other games that we've talked about, and I didn't even have this game on my radar set.
Yeah. No, that was the weirdest thing about it. Going into this, when I started researching for the week or whatever, I saw that this was getting a lot of reserves and likes and stuff on the site I was on. So it's but I've never heard of this before.
Right.
And I clicked on it and like I said, pulled that trailer and I'm just mind blown all of a sudden. Right. But it's weird that you're not hearing from bigger game outlets and stuff that people aren't talking about this game. Even among my personal friends and stuff. I bet you I could bring this up and not know one of them knows what I'm talking about.
Sure. Yeah, it seems like it's just underutilized in terms of marketing.
Yeah.
For this game. And just the look of the game. And we watched gameplay of it. And the gameplay looks pretty fluid.
Yeah, it looks very fluid.
It's a hack and slash, but I think you're totally right. I think, we haven't got to play it yet, but it looks like it's going to be easy to pick up and play. It looks hard, though.
It looks very hard. In the gameplay trailer, they were taking on 4 giant dudes, and it wasn't just okay, let me hit this guy 4 times and then he's dead. It's
move on to the next one.
No. It was okay, they're sitting there trying to beat these 4 guys, and I think it took them a solid 5 minutes to take down all 4 guys.
Prepare for half an hour.
Yeah, and that was someone that knew what they were doing.
Right.
So if you're a first time playing this and stuff, I cannot imagine the frustration of how many times you're gonna die trying to beat these guys.
Which is kind of funny because it's it's kind of labeled as a hack and slash,
right?
But man, in that gameplay trailer we were watching, man, they were using a lot of blocking, a lot of ducking, a lot of diving and rolling, and so no, it looks really fun. It looks like it's going to be a really solid game. I also like the fact that it's using kind of the Celtic and Norse mythology, you know, which I think we haven't used that a whole lot. I mean, Lord of the Rings is based on, you know, a lot of Norse and Celtic mythology, but this game, man, I was just blown away. I was absolutely blown away by the trailer, the first trailer we watched, but then when we got into the gameplay, I was just really blown away by this game. I'm totally gonna get it.
Yeah, I know, right? It's gonna be one of those sleeper games coming out of left field, right?
Right. Yeah. My only concern, I think, and you know, we talked about it beforehand, is the length of the game.
Yeah.
How long is the game gonna play? Because, you know, people who have played like Ninja Theory's other games, you know, like Enslaved or Heavenly Sword, they weren't super long games. So I'm wondering if this one is going to be a little bit longer because, you know, maybe the story is a bit more fleshed out, but hopefully we get an awesome story to match these incredible visuals.
I was gonna say, even if it's short, it might be something like Devil May Cry, where there's a lot of replay value and you can go back and do different things.
Sure, which Ninja Theory did the last DMC. They did the last Devil May Cry.
Exactly.
So, yeah, if they do that, then this should be a surefire hit. I would imagine.
Yeah.
It should be a surefire hit.
Overall, I'm definitely, like you said, you're looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to it. Y'all should check it out.
Exactly.
I mean,
It looks like a solid release, and it looks like a sleeper that just is going to end up coming out of nowhere.
Right.
And I hope so. I mean, I really hope that it does well. If you haven't had a chance to go check out the trailer and the gameplay, you're doing yourself a disservice.
Yeah.
Not go and see it.
Yeah. One of those pleasant things while researching.
Yes,
Fine. Yeah,
absolutely.
exactly. We found a winner.
Yeah.
Now, second game that we have this week.
Yes, so Mega Man Legacy Collection 1 came out a few years ago.
Right.
You said you have that for...
I do.
Do you have it for the 360 or Xbox One?
Xbox One with the Game Pass recently.
Okay,
I downloaded it onto the console.
Okay,
so.
sweet. So now they're releasing the Mega Man Legacy Collection
2. Yeah.
And so this one is coming out August 8th for the PS4 and the Xbox One. It's going to be $19.99 on retail and digitally. And it's going to include Mega Man 7 through 10.
Okay, see, this is the Mega Man area that I'm unfamiliar with.
Okay.
Because I had friends that had the original Mega Man games.
Right.
But I think that my extent of playing Mega Man was Mega Man 1 and 2.
Okay.
And then I don't think I played...
For the original Nintendo?
Yeah.
Okay.
And then I had a friend that had one of the X games, but I don't remember which one it was.
Right.
So,
yeah, I mean, so they had Mega Man X for the Super Nintendo, which was just... That game's awesome. That game is amazing. But I'm stoked about this one. I picked this game this week because my favorite Mega Man game of all time is Mega Man 8. I know there's a lot of people I know that don't like that game, but for some reason that game just stuck with me. The soundtrack is amazing. The gameplay is amazing. The levels are difficult. You know, a lot of these levels are difficult. But I'm stoked because this is going to introduce challenge modes.
Right.
So you're going to be able to go in and do a bunch of cool challenges. There's going to be new stage remixes, so they're going to have some of the stages are going to be remixed, so you'll be able to go in there. It looks like there's some time trials that you can go in there and do. The awesome thing that I thought about was they've got a music player.
Yeah.
That's going to allow you to go in there and listen to like
I was going to say, Mega Man has like one of the most iconic soundtracks, and it doesn't matter which game you pick, you're going to recognize something from it, and you're probably going to be humming it in your head for the rest of the day.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, even if you remember back in the day on the PlayStation when Mega Man 8 came out, if you would put the game disc into a CD player, you could actually listen to the soundtrack of the game in your CD player.
That's cool.
And that soundtrack for Mega Man 8 was just ridiculous.
Right.
Awesome. So it has the music player, which is going to be very cool. The graphics look great. I always hate the fact that they crop this stuff.
Right, you want it to be like full screen, but I guess they're trying to like make the old school kind of vibe thing.
I get it though. Just trying to re-stretch that stuff just makes it all wonky. So I'm totally cool with that. There is no word on whether or not this is coming to the Nintendo Switch. In fact, Capcom said that there are no plans as of now to release it for the Nintendo Switch or the 3DS, which kind of sucks. Yeah. Because that would have been awesome to play that on the Switch, especially if you have have it on the Switch and you can kind of take it on the go.
Right,
you know,
exactly.
So
well, I mean, that's like bringing it back home too. I mean, it started on Nintendo and everything else. So it's like, it's sad that Capcom and Nintendo kind of have this like rocky relationship now. And it's just like, get over it, guys.
Yeah, you
please.
like the collection, the first collection.
I do like the first collection. I will say this. Going back and playing the first collection after so many years, I forgot how hard these dang games were. Like, no joke. Like, little kid me, I am like, how did I do this? Like, you know, I went back and I popped it in like the first day I got it or whatever. And I went straight for Mega Man 1, you know, from the first collection. And just picked random level. I forgot which one it was. I could not get through like maybe the third screen. I'm just like, how do you do this? You know, I cannot remember it.
I know. I mean, when I was a kid, Mega Man was releasing on the Nintendo, and I remember getting it on the Nintendo, and I just remember being so frustrated. You know, you hear those kids that just, you know, God, you get so mad and you're just tossing.
Throw the controller at the wall.
He's so frustrated because he won't jump when you tell him to jump, and he won't fire when you tell him to fire. And so that's what I know. I know that frustration.
One of the worst things that I mean, well, I guess it's not worse, but it's really, really frustrating. Is when you're on a high part of the level and you jump down and the screen moves, and then there's like a guy just sitting right under you that you just fall on top of and die. And you're just like, why? And then you got to go all the way back to the beginning. Exactly.
Give me a heads up on this? Yeah, for sure. I think the reason why this collection here, the second collection, kind of resonates more with me because it's 7 through 10, and really just 7 and 8, really, because I never really got into 9 and 10. But 7 and 8 specifically, because those kind of came out when I was, you know, getting into my teenage years, and then when Mega Man 8 came out, I was in high school. And when that came out, it was just like, whoa, man, what have they done with Mega Man? It looks amazing. You know, it's still the same old side scroller, but it looks fantastic. And that game was hard too, man. But it was fun. The soundtrack was great. The gameplay was great. I mean, honestly, it's hard. You'll be hard pressed to find a Mega Man game where the gameplay isn't rock solid. You know, I mean, it's just a tried and tested, you know, series. And I know that they're trying to make the movie. I'm a little iffy.
It's like you're messing with childhood.
It's just kind of like, okay. But no, I'm totally stoked for this. Totally going to get this week. I'm really excited.
Yeah, no, definitely. And I mean, it's usually they're not priced that bad either. If you want to get a physical copy or anything else, usually
$20. Yeah, $20 is not bad at all. Even if you want to get the digital version, and you're getting, you know, some really awesome games. You know, 4 great games that are going to suck a large portion of your life away, because these games are not easy to beat. At all.
That's another thing, though, with these kind of games and stuff. A lot of the Mega Man series games are hard to find now. So when having something like this, where it's all collected, you don't have to worry about going out and trying to find it all. I mean, unless you're a hardcore collector, but you know. I mean, most people nowadays, I mean, there's a bunch of collectors and stuff, but if you want to show your kids or anything, you know, this is an easy way to introduce them to the Mega Man series as well.
Have you ever played any of the Mega Man games on the phones, the mobile phones?
No, I haven't.
I don't like them.
No.
I've played them several times. They're terrible. So having this come out for the newer system, so you can put it on a really nice new TV, and you don't have to play it on an old tube TV. This is good. This is great, and I can definitely now, you know, get my kids to kind of try and play Mega Man. But the sad thing is games are, you know, some games I think are I don't want to say they're dumbed down, but they're a little bit not even easier, but there are more options, right, to make the game easier. Whereas back then, man. You're just screwed, right?
Yeah, it's like, you know, figure it out.
Right. If you die, you go all the way back to the beginning, and you have to start all over again.
That's another thing, too, though. I mean, back then, I mean, some people had internet, but not everyone had internet. So it's not like you could go online and figure out how to get past something. No, you had to go and keep trying.
Nintendo Power.
Exactly.
You had to call the number and ask the dude, how do you beat this level?
Right, or go to school and ask at the lunch table. Yeah.
Oh no, you gotta memorize this pattern, you know, and how these enemies are, and you gotta hit this just right. It was just, oh gosh, Yeah, Mega Man is one of those games. It's just whenever they put these collections out like this, I'm a sucker, and we'll end up having it here in the studio.
Yeah.
Yep, for sure.
All right. Well, let's get into our game news for this week. Now, so not the most positive news.
Right.
But one of the first major Pokemon Go events happened in Chicago.
Right.
Like it was like a week and a half ago now.
Grant Park.
Yeah. And there was a lot of problems that they did not expect. I mean,
tens of thousands of people showed up.
Yeah, and people flew in for this event and everything else. There's a lot of hardcore people for this.
Right.
And they ended up having to do a bunch of refunds and stuff because people couldn't actually play the game when they got there.
Right. It's just overloaded the system and too many people were on it. And now, it didn't crash, from what I read, it didn't crash for everyone. I read a report that was saying that people who had T-Mobile actually made out really well that day. Nice. But you still had a lot of people that were having issues with the game. And what did they end up doing? They ended up issuing a ton of refunds.
I think it was like $100 in in-game coins for stuff.
Right. And what were the ticket prices? They were $20
$20, yeah.
Yeah. And I think Niantic issued 20,000 refunds.
Yeah, something like that.
Somewhere in that neighborhood.
That's still a lot.
Right.
Think of how big of a hit they took on that. You know what I mean? Because they had to pay to set up everything and all that. And I'm sure you had to pay for permits and all that. And you just take a giant hit, man.
Yeah, and then the other thing is, we were looking at it and the notes were saying that, or one of the articles I was reading was saying that the vast majority of people, they didn't even stay for the entire event.
No.
Which was, I think it was supposed to end at like 7 p.m. But the vast majority of people left well before.
It's like, what are you going to do, though? I mean, you can't even play the game. I'm going to go watch this guy catch all the things I wish I could catch.
Right. Oh, I mean, that had to be frustrating.
Yeah.
Especially for the people that flew in they have people from overseas and all across the country coming to this event. I mean, I feel bad for them. And I know there's a group, I mean, you guys were talking about it on Nerd Portal, but there's a group of people that are suing Niantic, right?
Yeah.
So what do you think? Do you think they have I have my own opinions, but do you think they have a case here?
I mean, you're coming at your own risk, basically.
Right.
It's just like if you go and fly in for a concert or something.
Sure.
If something they cancel it for some reason or another. Someone gets hurt, or someone breaks in and steals all the equipment. Anything, anything can happen.
Right.
It's not technically their fault.
Right.
Right. And a lot of it has to do, like you said, it may not be necessarily Niantic's fault that they couldn't get on too, but like it could be the cell phone provider as well.
Sure, because I know they were trying to work with AT&T and Verizon to kind of boost, I think, signal service in that area for the event, but it looks like it didn't work. So.
No.
But I totally agree. That was my opinion too. Is I don't think Niantic is totally responsible for refunding travel expenses for people that come to this event. They did what they were responsible for. They refunded tickets to close to 20,000 or 20,000 attendees. So that's, I think, where, it's like we go to a concert, right?
Yeah.
And, somebody doesn't end up showing up.
Right.
Well, we get refunded the money for the concert, but the concert venue or the artist, they don't pay for our travel expenses. It's just kind of like, at your own risk. So
exactly, and then that's something I think that they probably have somewhere on the website or whatever. Like I'm sure there's something about weather or other conditions on there too, because it was outside.
Sure.
I mean, say it started raining or something, and it was or like a giant storm came in. Are you still gonna try and sue them because of the weather?
Sure.
You know what I mean?
It's something. Those areas that you can't control.
Exactly.
For sure. Yeah, I don't think they're on the hook for this at all. I'm sure we live in a culture now where you can really honestly you can sue anybody for just about anything.
They'll try to anyway, yeah.
But I really don't think that Niantic's going to be kind of raked over the coals on this, and I don't think they're going to have to pay out a whole bunch of money to cover people's expenses. Because again, you kind of go into that when you buy into these big events like this where you have to travel.
Yeah.
So yeah, what do you think? Let me ask you this question though. Do you think this event, because I know they've canceled other events now, do you think the issues of this event will hurt Pokemon Go in the long term?
I don't think it's going to hurt it in the long term because this is like a learning experience. This was their first major event. So now next time they're going to come even more prepared for it, you know? And then the fans also have an idea now of what could happen. Exactly.
And what to expect.
And one of the cool things is even though this all happened, they also did it to where they released, I think, raids to a larger, and you can actually go and catch the Pokemon that were at this event, like, even here now in Texas.
Really? Okay.
Yeah. I got a notification on my phone like 3 or 4 days ago where it was like Moltres is in the area, you know, go out and find a battle raid or whatever. And so even though they did people that can fly back home and they figured out a way to still get those same, they still have opportunities to do it.
That's kind of cool, man, because you know, if they had a bunch of these characters, I've never been a big Pokemon you know, fan, but if they had those characters that were kind of almost kind of regulated to just for that event, but now because of the issues of that, they've kind of opened it up for everywhere. That's a cool thing.
Yeah.
Because then that gives you the opportunity to, you know, to kind of get some of those characters that you would have gotten at the event.
That's just the thing too. I mean, you're talking about people coming in soon. I mean, they can fly back home and still catch it, and they got a nice vacation in Chicago. You know what I mean?
So absolutely.
I mean, you got to look at it two ways. I mean, it's what glass half full or glass half empty. Yeah.
Are you going to take the positive view or the pessimistic view?
Exactly.
Yeah, for sure.
No. I mean, I guess that's gonna conclude this episode. Yeah.
Sweet.
I mean, unless you have anything else you want to talk about.
No.
All
right. We can let's save some stuff because we've got, I think, here pretty soon we're gonna have to talk to the people about our new show, Classic Game Fan.
Yeah.
But
definitely.
let's hold off on that for a little while, and then we'll totally get.
There's your little teaser.
Yeah, a little teaser for sure. Yeah.
All right, guys. Well, you can check us out on YouTube, obviously. Be sure to like and subscribe to our videos.
Right.
Okay.
Yep.
Also, you know, if you're not a Patreon subscriber already, go check out our Patreon. We do retro rewinds and talk about old games all the time.
Right.
Yeah, which is really cool. I like the retro part of it because that's where I'm used to it, and I think me and you can reminisce on a bunch of nostalgia there.
Yeah, which is gonna be great because, like I said, when we get Classic Game Fan going, it's gonna be awesome.
A nostalgia overload, right?
It's gonna be great.
Also, you know, go check out PopNerdTV.com because we have articles, we have reviews, we have all kinds of cool stuff on there. And if you want like the first look on everything that comes out, I mean, it's gonna be there.
Right.
Also, you want to tell them about the store?
Yeah. So the store we finally have the now loading shirts. The hats are coming. Everything.
There is a hat.
Oh, so we have the hat.
There's a hat now.
Okay, awesome.
Yeah.
I knew I wanted the hat up there. I didn't know if it was already.
There's hats. There's pillowcases. There's phone cases.
Okay, good.
There's shirts.
Good. I love the pattern shirt. That's my favorite. And we totally have to get us those patterns.
Yes, we do.
So I'm gonna try and get those in here so we can kind of model them for the.
Right, we'll show them off for you.
Right,
see this sexy man right here.
For sure. Yeah, no, the PopNerdTV store, you know, follow us on Patreon for sure.
Yeah.
We're going to start pushing some new content through Patreon. So if you join Patreon, you'll be able to watch these episodes like this before anybody else.
Yep.
And then we'll have certain content that we're going to start doing to where you'll be able to get to see some of our content a full week before anybody else. So,
super exclusive stuff too.
It's gonna be good.
Lots of good stuff.
Yep.
So I guess that's gonna call it for this week. Hey, we'll see you next Monday on Now Loading. I'm Alex Thompson.
I'm Johnathan Paul.
We'll see you later.
Bye, guys.
We're doing Retro Rewind, and guys, we're going way back. So all you Patreon fans out there, you're in luck because going back to August 6th, 1986,
right?
The Nintendo Metroid. Yeah.
Yep.
Now, okay, starting this off, I'm just going to tell everyone, first and foremost, I never played this game as a kid. I